Everyone, the human population CK12 rating. For those of you who don't like to read, could the audience please be quiet? Quiet on the set. Here we go. My name's Mr. Ruby. I'm joined by
Nathaniel Parker
and
Nigel.
Welcome, Nigel. Welcome, Nathaniel. And this is the human population concept 1. For those of you who don't like to read. All right. Could I have a round of applause for the human population, please? Go, people. All right, that's enough of that. All right, lesson objections. You'll explain how population grows. You'll describe how human population has grown. State how human population affects the environment. Vocabulary: carrying capacity, demographic transition, green revolution, population growth rate, and sustainable development. Introduction. Right now, there are almost 7 billion people in the world. Can you believe that, Nigel?
No.
Good, but it's true. As you read this sentence, there are at least 3 more will be added. Wow, that's a lot, Nate.
Wow, it is.
Think about that for a second or so, and here's another 3. You can actually watch the number of people increase second by second at this length right there. Why is it the human population is growing so fast? Has it always grown this fast? What causes population to grow? In this lesson, you'll find out the answers to these questions. Who wants to read first?
A population usually grows when it has what it needs. If there is plenty of food and other resources, the population will get bigger. Look at table 1.1. It shows how a population of bacteria grew. A single bacteria cell was added to a container of nutrients. Contents were ideal. The bacteria divided every 30 minutes. After just 10 hours, there were more than 1 million bacteria. Assume the bacteria population keeps growing at this rate. How many bacteria will there be at 10.5 hours or at 12 hours?
I'm sensing a lot of bacteria.
Yes, I am too.
As they grow and they grow and they grow, 10, you're up to 1 million. All right.
So I'm thinking 2 million.
Yes.
And 996,000
Sounds
something.
good. Let's go on to population growth rate. Nigel?
The population growth rate is how fast the population is growing. The letter R stands for the growth rate. The growth rate equals the number of new members added to the population in a year for each 100 members already in the population. The growth rate includes new members added to the population and old members removed from the population. Births add new members to the population. Deaths remove members from the population. The formula for a population growth rate is R equals B minus D, where B equals birth rate, number of births in 1 year per 100 population members. D equals death rate, number of deaths in 1 year per 100 population members.
Thank you. That was very nice and very fast. If the birth rate is greater than death rate, R is positive. This means that the population is growing bigger. For example, if birth is 10 and death is 8, then the rate of growth is 2. This means that the population is growing by 2 individuals per year for every 100 members of the population. This may not sound like much, but it's a fairly high rate of growth. A population growth rate would double in size in just 35 years. If birth rate is less than death rate, R is negative. This means the population is becoming smaller. What do you think may cause this to happen? Well, let's find out. Nate, would you like to read carrying capacity?
Sure thing. Carrying capacity. A population can't keep growing bigger and bigger forever. Sooner or later, it will run out of things it needs. For a given species, there is a maximum population that can be supported by the environment. This maximum is called the carrying capacity. When a population gets close to the carrying capacity, it usually grows more slowly. You can see this in figure 1.1. When the population reaches the carrying capacity, it stops growing.
Thank you. Human population growth. Figure 1.2 shows how human population has grown. It grew very slowly for tens of thousands of years. Then in the 1800s, something happened to change all that, Nigel. The human population started to grow much faster. Oh my goodness, there's like all these people everywhere. Oh, it was the Industrial Revolution. Yeah. The demographic transition. Nigel, would you like to read about that?
The Industrial Revolution is what happened. The Industrial Revolution began in the late 1700s in Europe, North America, and a few other places. In these places, the human population grew faster. While there had always been a lot of births, the population grew because the death rate fell. It fell for several reasons. 1. New farm machines were invented.
Excellent, more food. We love that.
They increased the amount of food that could be produced. With more food, people were healthier and could live longer. 2. Steam engines and railroads were built.
I agree.
These machines could quickly carry the food long distances. This made food shortages less likely. 3. Sanitation was improved. Sewers were dug to carry away human waste.
Ew.
See in figure 1.3. This helped reduce the spread of disease.
Excellent. With better food and less chance of disease, the death rate fell. More children lived long enough to reach adulthood and have children of their own. As the death rate fell, the birth rate stayed high for a while. This caused rapid population growth. However, the birth rate in these countries has fallen since a rate close to that of the low death rate. The result was slow population growth once again. These changes are called the demographic transition. Nate, would you want to read recent population growth for us?
More recently, the death rate has fallen because of the availability of more food and medical advantages. A green revolution began in the mid-1900s. The methods and products increased how much food could be grown. For example, chemicals were developed that killed weeds without harming crops. Pesticides were developed that killed pests that destroy crops.
Vaccinations
were developed that could prevent many diseases. See figure 1.4. Antibiotics were discovered that could cure most infections caused by bacteria. Together, these two advances saved countless lives. Today, in many countries, death rates have gone down, but birth rates remained high. This means that the population is growing. Figure 1.5 shows that the growth rate of human populations all over the world.
Future population growth. The future. The growth of human populations is starting to slow down. You can see in figure 1.6. It may stop growing by the mid-2000s. Oh no. Scientists think that the human population will peak about 9 billion people. What will need to change for the population to stop growing? After 9 billion people is carrying capacity. It looks that way in figure 1.6, but some people think there are too many of us already. That's because we are harming the environment. Supplying all those people with energy creates a lot of pollution. For example, huge oil spills have millions of living things, killed them. Burning fossil fuels pollutes the air. This also increases global warming. Fossil fuels and other resources are being used up. We may run out of oil by the mid-2000s. Many other resources will run out sooner or later. People are killing too many animals for food. For example, some of the best fishing grounds in the ocean have almost no food left. Boom, boom, boom. People have destroyed many habitats. For example, they've drained millions of acres of wetlands. Wetlands have a great diversity of species. As wetlands shrink, species go extinct. People have allowed alien invasive species originally from different areas to invade new habitats. Often the aliens have no natural enemies in their new home. This has driven many species extinct. See figure 1.7 that shows a snake, an Australian tree snake in Guam that's out of control and eating everything in sight. People themselves are also affected by a large size of human population. A minority of people use most of the world's energy resources, like the people in this room. Cheer for yourselves. All right, that's enough. You people are using the majority of the resources in the world. Many other people lack resources. Many don't have enough to eat or live with the threat of hunger. Many also don't have safe, clean water. Some people live in crowded, rundown housing or something that is barely considered housing. Sustainable development to you, Nigel.
It is possible for all the world's people to live well and still protect the planet. That's the aim of sustainable development. Its goals are to 1. Distribute resources fairly, 2. Conserve resources so they won't run out, 3. Use resources in ways that won't harm ecosystems. A smaller human population may be part of the solution. Better use of resources is another part. For example, when forests are logged, new trees should be planted. Everyone can help in the effort. What will you do?
Lesson summary. Population usually grows bigger when they have what they need. How fast they grow depends on birth and death rates. They grow more slowly as they get close to carrying capacity. This is the biggest population the environment can support. Human population growth was slow until the 1800s. Birth and death rates were high. Then death rates started to fall. In industrial countries, the birth rate soon fell as well. However, in many other places, the birth rate is still high. As a result, the human population is growing rapidly. It may reach 9 billion by the mid-2000s. The human population is already harming the environment. Many people don't get enough resources. They may lack shelter, food, or clean water. Sustainable development is needed. This means using resources in such a way as they won't run out and the planet won't be harmed. There's a recall here, and these are questions 1 through 9 to answer. Enjoy. These are references. These are questions. Signing out, Mr. Ruby and
Nigel.
And can I have a round of applause for everybody? Watch for more videos on this YouTube channel.